with it being their last series of the split. But let's talk a little bit about pick and ban, then we can talk about stakes, because we saw some pretty interesting draft measures taken in Game 1. Now that we've swapped, it looks like, yet again, we are getting these targeted bans. The Poppy on red side for IG. I truly wonder about that Samira, because Samira from Arn also took over, and Abel has a chance to maybe not even first pick at Lyric, but have a better response this time around.
Oh, yeah. OMG actually being the ones to change up their bans. They're leaving open the Draven this time around, banning the Vi. IG could just follow through with what they did last time. They banned Poppy, they banned Sylas, and they banned Zeri on blue. I think the only thing they might consider changing is that, the Wukong ban coming in, considering OMG banning a jungler, actually banning 2 junglers, right, in Italy as well, could really pinch that pool. So Abel going to have his chance to get his hands on the Zeri.
Zeri, as you say. We've seen Azir first picks today. Talia, if that's the direction. Aki's priority and the Xin Zhao. No other team really looking at a jungle first pick unless it's a Wukong Lyric. But I guess OMG are not your other team.
I mean, right, 4 junglers banned. Now Xin Zhao taken away. Pool extremely pinched. We still have the Pantheon up from things we've been seeing a lot in recent games. Shun still hasn't had a game on it just yet. But Viego, still a champion. We see Rear is heading. We hit on it. Not really working out on 12-14 so far. But I mean, if IG can find the stability in their lanes that they did last game, could still set up for Viego to have a massive performance and play off these resets. For IG, I mean, it just has to be thrown out there that the Zeri's open once again. But they always could just opt to pick mid lane early like they did in Game 1.
Or top. Or Zika's top, apparently, because it didn't matter. Shanji played the Sejuani last game. Zika ran away and had the best laning phase, so I guess get this champion before Shanji has something that he can use into it.
And I mean, they didn't really throw any bans towards the top side either.
True.
So Shanji had his pick of the litter and still couldn't find an answer. They tried diving him, and he was able to outplay and manage to escape. Now for OMG, I want to highlight the Zeri. I'll highlight the other thing. I'll highlight the thing you want to see.
Tell me.
As OMG now, do you just go towards that Samira pick yourself and be afraid of On getting his hands on that, and knowing as Abel, like, hey, this is one of the champions I'm most proficient on. Let's get my hands on this and make it work. But I'm happy to see Cream going towards a meta mid laner. Again, might not be something in his like repertoire that he's known for, but at least won't come out struggling so hard to be able to get out of lane and find an influence in the game.
Well, maybe we do get a top lane pick early on. I mean, against Jack's Lyric, I've seen this matchup before. It can be a nuisance.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely be annoying early on, just kind of bullying him out with your flame spitter. You do have to be a little bit careful, especially like post 6 if like all in's able to come through. You could always drop your equalizer on him to try to deter that, but you know, your Rumble, you want to be using that, finding high impact in these 5v5 situations. But I still love it coming out from the side of OMG, realizing, hey, some of these picks in mid aren't working. Let's put Cream on something, you know, that can get the job done, and then lean into the niche picks with Shanji to try and find advantages. For IG, though, they're going to put Mole on more of a supportive element once again. Going to go back to the Galio, and seems like try to make sure no shenanigans come out through the top side.
So we are getting some of those comfort picks. It's hilarious because for Mole, you know, the Galio is something I remember him on V5 days as well. But Shanji, if anyone doesn't know, is a Rumble OTP up in the top lane. This is his pick, and we've already seen it a couple of times this split. But through his career, if you look at Shanji, 32 games played, he's 20-12 on it, has a very high win rate, and comes with a lot of expectation. Now, as we start going to the second draft and Lyric, there's no bottom laners, as we talked about. Zeri actually going to be bad from IG's side here, so maybe they're going to go for a different angle for their red side 4th pick.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what IG want to do, because like their composition, especially with the Galio, right, kind of signaling that they'd want to be able to go all in, you know, draft and engage support and pair something with it that does go well, but that could be very annoying into Xin Zhao and a Rumble. So maybe they're just looking to go back to the stock and standard of Aphelios. Have Aphelios, they could try and hopefully get their hands on whether it's something like a Nautilus. Then you have an engaged support. You have something that can play from a range and hopefully not have to deal with things like the Xin Zhao or Ahri being able to get on top of you as easily as if you were going in yourself. But we'll find out right now what IG want to pick up.
Yeah, Civ is still available. So I'm kind of wondering here, Lyric, if this is the right answer. Because I just love that IG are willing to ban away the Samira. They're like, you know, Art played it in Game 1. Abel doesn't get to respond. You talked about range. Aphelios is another one as well that can just ulti back and use that Calibrum. So I guess we are going to get on here with support counter pick.
I think the only thing about Sivir, right, is we're typically just seeing Sivir paired with Yuumi. And if you go Sivir, Yuumi, and IG's composition, I mean, you're kind of relying on Mole to either run in or Shun come in, Zika come in on a flank and like Mole ult. It just feels very awkward, right? In terms of if you go towards the Aphelios, it opens up more support options. I think ideally they'd want the Nautilus, but OMG might just take that one away right now and not even give them the option.
Okay, 80 carry though, Lyric. What's left? Like Jinx? But what else works with this composition that can kind of speed up the game?
Honestly, I don't really feel like OMG are hurting for options, like whether it was a Jinx or even if they themselves opted into like a Sivir alongside this Nautilus or the Ezreal, like they have a very strong top side, right? You have Rumble, Xin Zhao, the Ahri, like these champions that can move and work well together. So you can have something in bot lane that's just going to farm up just fine and have a lot of your damage and a lot of your playmaking front-loaded in what you've already drafted.
Okay, so Ezreal comes through. Quite a rarity, but already been played 5 times here by Abel in the split. Hasn't been so good on it, but hopefully for OMG's sake, with their final series, potentially final game of the regular season, that it's able to do work. Lyric on the other side, Renata is something we don't see too much anymore, but Wink is going to show us how with an old standard in 12-12 and 12-13 that we thought was Giga OP.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I don't really love IG's comp. I'm still never really a big fan of seeing Galio without ways to bring him in. Like, sure, you could always opt into like a cheeky Predator, running yourself, or play more for peel, right? Standing around on using that taunt defensively, or even using the ult to be able to cover for him. But OMG have decent long-range damage coming through. They have the Ezreal poke that can be followed up on. The Equalizer, Shanji doesn't even really need to be anywhere near the Renata and her dropping her ultimate or Mole to be able to get that damage down. And Cream, we know, kind of wants to be weaving around a fight. So OMG having some solid tools, I think, to be able to find fights without putting themselves in range for IG to be able to do anything. But if IG can start finding some success early and really getting their jacks going, they're going to be able to play out through sides. He's going to be able to just win out that 1v1 and give them a consistent source of pressure that Mole and Shun can try and all in on.
Because that's the most exciting line, isn't it? Shanji, in what could be the last game of their regular season, pulls out his Rumble. And his Rumble, having the chance to flip this game, take us to a game 3, is all I care about here, Lyric. Can Shanji do it? Or is Zika on this second time around Jack's going to be enough? Because for IG, they might be out, but they are a pain in OMG's side. Doombe's sitting somewhere co-streaming. I know it. I definitely know it. Sitting there thinking, hey, IG, come on. We were once brothers. When he was on FPX and when it was the Shine rookie on this Invictus gaming lineup, they went to Worlds together. They faced off in semifinals. It was, I think, one of the best semifinals I've ever seen at Worlds, which could have gone to a game 5, but I digressed. At the very least, IG are being a nuisance, and OMG just want to get to 8 wins, but now against match point, as you talk about, the top lane is going to be crucial for getting them across the line.
You know, I want to go back to digressing because I actually loved your point.
Yeah.
It's like Doonby, these guys used to be friends. Actually, wait, Doonby was on a different team. Oh, wait, actually, the people that Doonby might have been friends with also aren't on IG anymore.
Now there's no bond.
Yeah, just no connection whatsoever. Yeah. But you know what? I like what you said earlier. Maybe offering some hot pot of like, hey, guys, try your best. Try your best and you get that patented Doonby hot pot coming your way. But
he'll take it. Doonby is apparently a very generous man. You know, I see his pictures on Twitter. He's always going out and doing something. Like, he'll a very social guy. He'll do a dance
for them.
Yeah, the IG dance. Because let's be real, LNG getting into playoffs. A lot of people are like, they don't think this team is worthy of playoffs, but still, that's the position they're in. And at the very least, it gives Doonby a chance to show up in BO5.
Speaking of, playoffs and chance to show up, it's crazy to think that this might not only be OMG's last regular season game. This potential will be the last time we see OMG until next year, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a world where they lose and other teams win, they aren't able to get going. A lot of it going to rely on this man on our screen being able to get ahead, not wanting to opt into the queue and, have that kind of pretty much constant push of the wave if he's going to go for these heavy trades. So goes for the E, able to get some of that poke down while still being able to keep the wave at a manageable pace and potentially set up an early gank for Maki.
Look at the Dota screen going on right now. Yeah, LPL, hey, we're flexing again. Last game, we're talking about Ziz. Now we've got 3 screens. 3 more and we get a 6-pack screen. I don't know how that works, but as we look at the top side, bullying out. Now we look at mid. Shun is getting into position, and Lyric, this is going to be a flash burn actually by Mole. Creams over the wall straight away, and that's the energy of IG's mid-jungle 2v2.
Yeah, held on to the taunt for quite a while, but I mean, even if he taunted right, and I think Shun able to connect the W, Cream would still be in a position where he would be able to flash away, so it seems like that's the maximum you'd be able to get, but this does set up for the repeat plays able to come through, and Mole, surprisingly enough, actually going back to the Aftershock. I feel like we've been seeing, you know, other things come out on the Gallia, whether it's the Unsealed Spellbook or things like the Predator that we've been hitting on before. But Mole realizing this composition really has no front line is I need to be quiet.
Yeah, Ignite down in top side, Flash Burn, Flame Spitter solo kill. How the tides have turned since we last looked up.
And Zika, like, he did all of that himself. That's why I'm surprised it ended up going so far. This feels so rough when we hit on, I feel like for IG, the Jax really is going to be the encompassing thing for their composition. And for OMG, this Rumble, huge potential to take over with the Equalizer in these 5v5s. IG, it's going to feel really rough.
Well, good news for OMG, though, because when we talk so heavily about the top side matchup, that's the kind of solo kill you look forward to as we watch the replay again at level 3. Oh,
right there.
God.
Takes a turret shot, trying to push the wave in. Shanji even doing a great job with the wave control, right? Because he started the E to make sure he isn't just constantly pushing that wave. And then flashes to be able to follow through and get the kill down.
Hello, Mole just burnt flash before. Cream in trouble. Shun inevitably looking for the reset, but his flash has also been burnt. Shanji coming in as well. IG! That's a 3-0 start you've given away, and it all comes crumbling down.
Well, it's coming for 4 minutes. We're going to 3 games, baby.
Yeah,
We're going to 3 games as OMG finding windows to capitalize. We said, hey, they could look for a repeat gank on IG side on mid when that flash is down, but Mole burning his flash too gives the same opportunities to come for the side of OMG. Then the difference maker as well, OMG keeping up top side pressure, so Shanji even would be able to join in if he so needed. We'll get a full replay of what happened here. IG were the ones looking to repeat the play, not able to land the initial CC, and then not a whole lot of damage between them. They spot the Xin Zhao coming in, and then just not enough gas left in the tank to be able to finish this one off as Shun's trying his best.
Oh, he missed everything though, Lyric. Feels bad.
Yeah.
You know, Shun's the person we talk about, and when he missed three different abilities there in that fight, OMG take punish, and Aki now with a 2-0 lead. In comes Shanji as well. Lyric, gold lead at a 1K lead. I can say lead one more time if you'd like, but it's a big deal for OMG considering the last early game was a bit of a disaster. This is a nice turnaround.
I also feel like it's just one of the things of when you are a team on the lower end of the standings, right? Like, when they're able to get ahead is when you can see them win out games, close, and look dominant. But when they fall behind is simply when they collapse. IG now trying to find a way back in by punishing on this top side, but not going to find the avenue. Shanji playing very respectfully, and Aki already hovering. Heck, even Cold making his way up.
He's got a level lead as well, so as Aki hits Wind becomes Lightning, threatens Shun out of the jungle, and Shanji should be close to getting 6-2, so feels like right now Shun has to respect that. As Shanji's all-inning Zika yet again. Shun going to be spotted out in a ward, but Shanji's like, I don't care, there's not much you can do. Electro Harpoon doesn't need to connect, and that's because Cold is spotted out on a ward coming top lane. OMG bringing the cavalry.
OMG now going to be able to force Shun off these Krugs. I don't think they should be able to find anything because both Zika and Shun are already very far out of the play. Zika actually going to have to back up even further, but OMG doing a great job of capitalizing. They know they're fine down in bot side because they have an Ezreal. Sure, he's going to fall behind a bit in CS. We talked about it coming out of draft that, like, you kind of pick him to leave him on his lonesome, and you're indexing a lot into being able to find early advantages with mid and top, and he's going to be more of an insurance policy if the game does go late.
Yeah, because right now, with an even part of the lane, like only 10 CS down, but feels relevant to mention that it's not burning in the 2v2. That's a plus for OMG, considering, again, what we saw in the first game. But I wanted to draw our attention towards this first Dragon and Herald Lyric spawning within the same minute of each other. We've had pretty delayed Dragons so far today, and it feels like, yet again, we are just going to be waiting a little bit as IG head towards bottom side, trying to make Mole move. They're trying to force this ulti Lyric, and right now, you talked about the opportunities for IG being limited, considering there's not like this hard jump in engage that is going to set them up for that.
No, I think it's pretty rough for them. It seems like they kind of want to pivot to playing and leaning down towards this bot side, considering that they have been the ones to find advantages. But I feel like the opportunities really just aren't there. I mean, they still have summoners up. We still have E4 Abel. IG's bot lane will be able to keep getting plates, and maybe they could just turn that Prio into a dragon, but I can't see too much more.
Shun's coming in. No ward in the brushes. Maybe if he gets a counter engage from Cold here, has been sending out the dredge lines because Aki's not nearby. So Shun right now hovering just in case as he's going to make that back complete, and IG get the shove and back off themselves. Aki, meanwhile, going for a bit of an invade in this top side, while Zika has the wave pushed out Lyric, and he's going to try and help out.
Yeah, so just want to get some vision down on this Rift Herald, not actually guessing that this play is coming out on top side, but OMG just going to start this one up outright. I wonder if IG will even try to contest. I think it would be pretty rough. Equalizer is up and available for Shanji. But yeah, they're bringing all members over. They have ults available as well. On especially Moonlight Vigil maybe can make a bit of a difference, but we're going to find out what happens.
Lyric might be too late. Mole's going to go in first, of course, with the flash available. Shield of Drain gets dredge lined in, knocked up. With the equalizer down, he flashes out. The bailout's going to come through, but Mole now with the ulti in the nick of time. No, not really. He's burnt down to a Sunder as Zika joins in with a counter-strike, but OMG is still healthy enough. They've got their engage. Invictus Gaming are brawling with a team that are absolutely shredded in this early game. Another double over to an OMG carry, and IG are just going to double down till they die.
This is why we were questioning if IG would have looked for this, because realistically, it was always going to turn out this way. OMG having position, OMG having the vision, OMG having, these huge tools like the equalizer when you're walking in. IG just try to brute force their way in. They say, we don't care, screw it. Go in, and look at that. I mean, True Shot Barrage, equalizer, all layered throughout so many members. Mo is going to go down, tries to hope he can find something with the fact that the bailout's on top of him. But then, once IG try to re-engage, I mean, you're just walking into 5 members with your 80 carry face taking. I don't get it.
Nicely done then. I guess to send us to a game 3 a little bit quicker. It's a 4K gold lead at 9 minutes in. Abel probably just laughing at this point, considering he hasn't had to do much. But look at the whole top side of OMG, while IG are just barely struggling to do any damage. And Dragon's still there, Lyric. Dragon is still there, and OMG now hitting Mythics right before IG do.
And I mean, great for OMG, right? I think it would be very sad if after the highs that OMG have shown, if they weren't able to make playoffs. Now, I mean, in a great position, like you said, to be able to bring us to that game 3 at the very least. Now they can start leaning down towards their bot side. They know Shanji's in a great position and try and play for this first Drake. Shanji, though, actually clearing out his topside camps, maybe guessing, saying, hey, we know IG don't want to match us. They're falling behind. I'm going to pick up some of these camps in topside in case Shun wanted to go for a cross map and try and steal away some of these. He now doesn't have the opportunity.
It's also going to help him to the Night Harvester, too. Like 83 CS, got a bounty on his head. Shanji's Rumble is going to come alive.
He's even leashing for his mid laner. What a homie.
What an absolute guy. I mean, Shanji pulled this pick out when Zika pulled out an early Jax, but this time punished so much heavier as First Dragon also goes to OMG. The early game, guys, is done. Now we're just looking to see if IG force any more, and onto Cream, the answer is yes. He has himself the Spirit Rush, but Mole isn't able to force that out as IG start moving in the 3-man unit, but what do? Maybe you die topside.
Just even look at the items, right? We have Mythics coming out on the side of OMG to where nowhere close.
Do it.
For IG on the opposing side. They're going to look to see if they can find a dive onto Jax. Actually, not even going to risk it maybe for the fact that Mole about to have his ultimate back up. Probably have a rough idea that should be up now. And just going to get some more plates.
Not going to herald by the looks of it. Aki and Shanji just taking it with sheer force. I guess maybe setting up for another inner or something towards mid. That pressure enough gives them a couple of plates. So shared away without herald. And that means Aki is going to wait. And Lyric, Ping's actually going down mid. He's going to try and get another lane.
I think it's smart, right? You don't need to use the top, so don't. Drop it in a place where you can actually get more value, and it will do more work and give you more, considering that Shanji will just be able to get that from him naturally bullying out and you leaning more resources over. So going to get some gold on Cream, and this even allows a really nice pivot to just start covering for your bot side, considering you haven't seen Shun show anywhere else.
Equalizer comes down, though. Hang on. Shanji, king of the top lane. Trying for yet another solo kill as OMG are bringing down the cavalry bot side. In a 3v3, I think I would still take OMG here, Lyric, as IG end up backing off. So no trade whatsoever. Solo first turret blood up in the top side, and I'm just ready to go to the game 3, honestly. At this point, IG are now 5,000 gold behind at 12 minutes.
Honestly, it's fair, because even when I look at IG's comp, the only way...
Ooh, good handshake. Hostile
Yeah,
takeover is available. Not going to be used out. The hero's entrance means a counter gank because Aki's going to get stunned up. Arn going to get the kill. Bailout works. Shun getting a reset. He's alive. Maybe not time to count out IG as they look for Abel and Cold on the back end. Mole's here as Shun gets sniped by Abel, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade.
So, this does not change the state of the game, right? IG finding 1 kill, and it ended up being traded back. And to me, that shows the point of IG being behind is even more rough in terms of, since they don't have a way to force fights, and they have things like the Renata, things like the Aphelios that want you to come into them, like, they need to lead. They need to be on objective first. And if they had that, they could maybe take fights like we see here, because then you're getting value out of things like the Renata ultimate. You're able to throw out a Moonlight Vigil on the numerous members. Problem is, they're able to find it here because OMG are trying to further their advantage by engaging into the enemy jungle, right? But once it comes time for Dragons, once it comes time for Herald or Baron, IG won't be able to get the same setup.
Wait, what? Abel ultied, flashed away, cool guys don't look at explosion kind of deal. That was, that's some technology for sure.
It is some technology, and he's actually the only member of the team that hasn't picked up his first completed item just yet. I guess it makes sense when all the kills, which are giving gold, right, are going towards the other side of the map. We finally see Shanji picking up his mythic now, so even more damage going to come out, right? Especially across a whole team. The more members it hits, the more that will do.
Here we go, Dredgeline flash, and guess who's dead? Wink, all right, first one, and this continues to be a wait for Game 3. Dragon coming up in a minute 10, and at this point, Lyric, I mean, honestly, I got spring rolls in the oven, you know, I'm ready for the next break. Like, I feel like for IG, look at all they're giving up. Look at how this game's progressing. Maybe
Honestly,
I get to eat earlier than expected.
I feel like IG might have spring rolls in the oven at this point, right? I mean, you look at the game, you're like, you walk away, put something in the oven, you know, maybe break open a couple of cold ones and be like, you know what? I'll be ready by the time next game comes through.
I would like to see. What would I like to say? I was going to say I'd like to see IG, but, you know, as a caster, you kind of get to these points where you're like, dude, with everything you've told me about IG's comp, you know, I don't want to see this all-in perfect engage. I'm not going to pretend like IG have an insane chance here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 6K gold lead, and guess who's back? Back again with a handshake is Wink. Aki comes through and forces that flash. So right in front of second Herald, that too is going to be OMG's.
I mean, OMG have whatever they want. Wherever OMG dedicate their resources, it is theirs. IG, we will see you later. And all IG can hope to do is cross map. But at the very best, right, maybe you're leaning down towards spot and you're able to find a pick on Cream. It buys you a bit of time. Maybe it turns into one turret, but the gold is so insurmountable. IG actually going to try and look for a bigger prize of the Dragon, but they might regret this very quickly.
Cream has Spirit Rushes. He gets locked down, uses the first part. IG's a 5-man group, but Abel starting to poke them down. Look at the rest of the members. Aki and Shanji not here, as it is actually an objective bounty over to Invictus Gaming. While Aki, what's his response? To set up the mid turret with second Herald, and Shanji just blasts away at the inner top side.
Shanji doesn't have TP, so he did just be like, okay, we'll just go for the gold trade, look towards top side. But look at the minimap. Members of IG are either still resetting or still making their way over.
Yeah.
OMG should be able to get this turret as well. Might get 2 turrets off of this trade.
If the inner turret's broken out before 20 minutes, I mean, just showcase the game. Objective bounty picked up by Zika Bot, but that inner turret top side, inner turret towards mid, both go down and both make it so we're now at an 8K gold lead at 16 minutes into the game. So Lyric now only the inhibitor turret standing mid and top, and bot side we still have outers, but to be fair, Shanji now coming down, and that should change very quickly.
Look, last series, you said some team were like the masters of their own fate or something like that.
Yeah.
Which led me to thinking of Doctor Strange for some reason. Which, I don't know why in that moment I had something I wanted to ask you of, which I could ask now. OMG and IG, what heroes or teams from the MCU would they be in your mind?
Oh,
I don't know why I've actually thought about this before, but I've actually thought about this before.
Well, let's start at the top, right? I feel like V5 are Thanos. They're not unbeatable, but at a flip of a switch, they kill everyone. I think top esports are probably Thor, you know, that huge chat energy, lots of mojo.
I can see that.
Yeah. I think
especially when he goes from like the drunken beer belly Thor. Like top esports have those moments.
True. And then for OMG, what are OMG? Okay, let's start with WE are like Eternals. It was a horrible movie. You know, there's really no hope in it, but you know, you watch it anyway because you're a big fan. That was WE. And so somewhere in between, Lyric, as we look for an IG dive, I might pause because I'm just ready for IG to try and make a play. Turret's still standing, but hey, objective bounty gold. Mole flashes, bailouts there, heroic entrance, and he's alive? He is alive. On to Cream, ulti dodged away. Mole now here with the Winds of War, shield of Duran. IG got a kill. Hostile takeover as that long-range missile from Shanji is almost like a nuke. He's chasing down his targets, but IG are looking to get out of this unscathed. However, Mole taking the turret shots now. It's going to be an execute. So, props to IG for living on.
Yeah, that was, I mean, there's a world, right, where OMG keep just forcing these, like, very disconnected fights and giving small picks over. Leads to a world where potentially IG can just find one lucky or one big fight, the right Moonlight Vigil hits, and they take it if the game keeps going later, right? But not able to do that so far. OMG, we're the ones to start this off. I feel like the biggest and most important member on the side of OMG is their Rumble. Rumble doesn't have TP. Shanji has to walk all the way over here, which gives opportunities like this where Mole, lucky to survive, but IG also able to turn and find a kill onto Cream. And then by the time Shanji joins, it's like, cool. I mean, it's already too late. They're able to back away. Mole, a little bit disrespectful with where he was going for that recall, does have to end up giving his life to Turret, but still, it just ended up being IG finding a kill, OMG finding none.
You know what? OMG or Hawkeye, right? You look at everyone else, they have powers, they're so hyped up. Like, dude, Spider-Man, we have Iron Man, right? Like, Tony Stark is, you know, let's be real, if you haven't seen Endgame, if you don't know what happens at the end of that, you know, rest in peace. Literally, for Iron Man. But OMG are the perfect reiteration. Who did I say, Lyric? I forgot. Who was I talking about? OMG or who? I said it before. Dude, it's Hawkeye. It's Hawkeye because everyone else has abilities and Hawkeye doesn't. It's like, cool.
You know,
they're unique.
I think the best one I came up with the other day was that TT is Ant-Man, which sounds so unimpressive, but then you see the movie and you're like, my God, it's actually a good movie. It's actually hilarious.
True.
I'm with it. That is current form TT to me. The one I struggled with was who is Guardians of the Galaxy, which is by far the best MCU title there is.
True. Great music, great cast, great all-round movie. Oh, as OMG did Baron, you might wonder, why are we talking about Marvel? This game was in the bin at 10 minutes in. IG are now at this point where, okay, can they contest? Can they get towards the Baron? Shun is going to be denied with a depth charge. The Baron relatively slow as even Zika won't jump over. So we're at an 8k gold lead. It is soon going to balloon even further out of control. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy...
You know, I was going to say, you said people might be wondering why we're talking about Marvel. That was a great example right there of how we ended up where we're at.
Probably RNG, right? I feel like RNG, a diverse team, you know, you get into the middle of the movie, you realize you're enjoying this so much. And it cleans out so well.
The sequel's better than the original.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is actually better than 1, and 1 is so great.
2021 MSI champions are bested by 2022 MSI champs. So,
yep.
I think RNG are Guardians of the Galaxy for sure. And I'm trying to think. I need to actually like Google Marvel's movies.
Well, while you Google that, I'll look at this potential dive towards top side. Shanji looking to go down, does go golden, but Turret is going down so fast. Shanji, what are you going to do? He flashes away, gets locked down, but the cavalry is here to save him. Aki, you're going so deep, my dude. You're going to be by yourself as Shanji does go down in the end. Mole coming in with the play. It's all getting so messy, Hysterics. I don't know how you do it, but enough of OMG members are here to save the play as Zika trying to salvage something, but we see Abel manages to come through with the triple kill.
Dude, IG are actually close. You know, no Kappa. OMG almost got out Team Fort Lyric, and I know this game still feels over. But you got to give props to IG for not throwing in the towel.
It feels like we're at the point where we actually have to stop talking about marbles. We see here, IG able to punish. Looks like resets coming out from OMG. They get the turret as well. That gold going over. And again, just kind of indexing in one by one. Cream and Abel not here. You already see how low Shanji is. He pretty much goes down by the time the rest of the team's able to join the fight. And then Wink getting a lot of value out of that Renata ultimate is what, and I think essentially gives IG the edge in this fight. But still, once Abel gets involved, once Cream gets involved, look at Abel free hitting the whole time from the back end of the fight. Also, Cream, I think, landed a pretty significant charm. It looked like onto Zika right before the end there when the Counter-Strike did come through. But yeah, OMG still in the lead, but you're right. IG have been taking fights, have been finding kills.
Yep.
Still a tough road ahead, but not impossible.
Not impossible. It would be an insane feat to come back in this game when IG have been shut out now for at least, 15 minutes when topside solo kill, when bottom side ended up being a disaster. I was going to say maybe OMG are more like Incredible Hulk. They turn on exactly when they need to, but at this point, it is always touch and go. And we've waited in that first game for OMG to put forward impact, but now finally, in the second game, not all hope is lost. They're breaking into the base while you can see Zika in the top side is trying to get a turret response. Good ulti from Shanji, but the hostile takeover underneath is actually a bit better. Arn getting out of there with a flash depth charge on top of him. OMG now sieging yet again as Minion Wave gets cleared out, but they just don't care. Zika trying to break the base himself, Lyric, as Arn solo defends, and maybe, just maybe, IG will be able to open topside as well.
IG not having confidence going for the fight. We hit on coming up from draft that side lanes and that split push would be one of the areas they would index into. Never gotten a chance to get it going, but realizing now, hey, since we don't really feel comfortable looking for the fight, especially since OMG are finally grouping up together, right? For the past 10 minutes, we haven't seen OMG playing as this 5-man unit when, I mean, that's what their composition wants to do. IG knowing they can't look for the fight. So Zika able to find some gold back for IG, but I mean, now inhibitor broken for OMG. Yep. They're going to be able to start grouping up, reasserting their vision line because IG have taken some of the vision back, especially down towards that bottom side, and potentially looking towards that next dragon. Baron will follow shortly after, but I think especially starting to break open these last two inhibitors.
But you know what sucks is the fact that IG might still be down 8,000 gold, but they got the first dragon, Lyric. They're unable to get pulled and swayed by OMG. And just in case, right, just in case, I want to ask you a little bit about how IG could potentially scale into this game, even though it feels like it's 15 minutes away, unless OMG completely waft and throw.
I still feel like they're just relying on mistakes from OMG. I mean, we see, right, once the 5-man core is there, and you have Cold going in with the Dredge line, Aki able to get in with his ultimate, and then Equalizer dropped on top of it, the amount of damage that it does. So you're relying on OMG to keep making those disconnected mistakes, but they're not doing it.
Under turret, yeah, Arn's just dead. Here's the hero's entrance, but the hero always arriving late. Stands true here for Mole. 80 carries dead, and OMG have another wave coming in through mid, top side, and supers through bot. This looks like another easy pick as Cold sets up for the Dredge line. Shanji burns him down a little bit, and even though they don't find the kill, the poke seems to be enough as Mole is just getting crushed.
Yeah, IG as a whole just getting crushed under the weight of OMG. They're going to be able to pick up another turret. They're going to be able to open up another inhibitor, and I'm going to assume they don't look for the end here, especially not having that Equalizer available. Cold's ult down as well, no Spirit Rush. So just back off for the guaranteed play. Go get that dragon. You'll put yourself on 3 dragons, 2 infernals. Also pretty big since the buffs have come through. And then for OMG, you could just turn your attention towards that Baron, break down the last turret in topside, and then, I mean, it'll finally be all she wrote for IG.
We're just looking at the setup there. Wait, what? Did he just Dredge line through a turret? What? What is Nautilus hook? Like, oh my god.
It looked like it skimmed right by the edge, but it was definitely very close. As OMG now knowing the play, right, heading towards that Baron. TP actually coming through for Abel so they can try and get this push in quite quickly. They already have supers pushing in both mid and bot, so they really don't have any trouble forcing Prio and reclaiming this vision from IG. IG are going to do their best to prevent it, but now a lot of these tools for OMG are back up, And it would be so rough for IG to try to walk into this.
Well, they might have had a pick first on Nicole. They're using everything. Shielded Duran. They've locked him down, but he still gets away. A reset for Shun's good, but with the TP in. Arky now full committing with the ulti from Arn. Heals him up. Arky down the middle of the whole team. The bailout works. Zika will die, though, and OMG is still strong here in a 4 versus 3 as Cream jumps in, goes gold, gets the pick. Shanji doing the same. Mole missing the Justice Punch, and Shun now not given another reset. It doesn't matter. As good as IG look from the brink of this despair, OMG are just way too fed.
No, and you can see OMG now just pinging the base. They have 2 waves of supers. They're going for the end. Mole, you are going down for the 5th time in this game. And, yeah, OMG bring us to Game 3. They have that chance, as there. He said the chance to lock it in today.
They do. After what was an absolute domination in game number 1. Now the tides are turned in reverse. OMG will take us to a game number 3. And honestly, I don't know what we get out of this one, but I do know that IG said never say die about 1 million times within that game.
I feel like OMG just presenting them those opportunities to where IG can find isolated members, right? But we saw any time that OMG were grouped up, or I guess even when they were giving those opportunities over to IG, by the time the rest of the team joins up, I mean, the gold lead was just too big from too early on, right? And OMG did a great job of constantly